This is the Simpit. I'm your host, Sean Cole, and today we're here to check out the Next Level Racing FGT Elite 160 sim racing chassis. Here we have the wheel plate edition, which goes for $11.99 normally, but it's currently marked down to $9.99. And then you have the front and side mount edition, which goes for $100 more. It's actually on discount as well. And then finally, you have the Ferrari Scuderia edition, which is going to set you back another $100. All of those are the chassis alone, not including the seat. As I mentioned, the FGT Elite doesn't come with a seat, but it does come with these cool universal seat brackets. So you could install just about any kind of seat that you want onto this rig. In our case, we're using the ERS3 seat by Next Level Racing, which I just recently reviewed. It's a pretty comfortable seat. It goes for $249, and you can see our full review. I have a link in the description below. But again, you could put any seat on this rig with a tremendous ease. Now, what else do you get for your money on the FGT Elite? It all starts with this 40 by 160 custom black anodized profile tubing, as well as other varieties, including these angle cuts for the uprights. On top of that, you've got these super cool cable management clips that make it just so easy and tidy to get your cables done right. And then under the seat, we've got a butt kicker mount mounted just like I have on this piece right here. Up front, we've got these monster 6mm thick powder-coated steel bars that accept these shoulder bolts, so it makes it really quick and easy to adjust the entire pedal angle, and you have a whole range of motion there. And when it comes to range of motion, you look at this pedal mount, you've got these two independently moving, fully slotted steel plates that give you so much freedom that I can't think of a single pedal set that wouldn't work on this rig. And then on top of that, to make things even easier, you've got these alignment marks all over the rig, making it super easy to make sure things are perfectly parallel and perfectly straight while you're adjusting the rig. With this being the wheel plate edition, we have this huge wheel plate. It is steel powder coated as well, and it's got so many holes on it, it should work on just about any wheel on the market. This rig does come with a shifter mount. What's great is it is reinforced. So you've got this whole extra bar to mount to the rig to reinforce the shifter mount, or you can even mount the shifter mount directly from the seat. Now for me, I don't use a shifter that much, so I put it up super duper high, and I just have my mouse right there, and it's really convenient. It works out great. In addition to that, we've got the safety step. Now, I have not put my full weight on it. It would support me, but I find I just use it to get in and out of the rig, and it makes it really convenient. And then when I'm resting, I'm not racing, I put my feet down on it, and it's just a little extra comfort. On top of that, it comes with its own toolkit, which just blew me away. Oh my God. Oh my God, we get a little mini ratchet? I love it. Oh, this is so cool. Oh my God. Oh my God, this is the best. I'm so excited about this right here. Holy shit. Who'd have thought? And then if that's not enough, it comes with 4 adjustable feet. Unboxing the Next Level Racing FGT Elite 160 is like unwrapping a present. Each piece snugly nestled in foam, arriving without a single scratch in sight. It's a bit of a puzzle getting everything out, but once you do, it's game on. Following the instructions is the key. You'll be slotting nuts into place like a pro before you start piecing it all together. Building from the ground up, you'll first tackle the lower box, complete with adjustable feet for a stable foundation. Then it's all about the climb. 2 sturdy uprights, a reinforced wheel plate connecting them together, and alignment markings to keep everything on point. The pedal deck is heavy duty, hinged, and supported by adjustable side arms, with slotted pieces to secure your pedals. As for the seat, it slides into place with ease, mounted on adjustable side mounts for a custom fit. The shifter arm bolts on, supported by the main frame, with ample space up top for all of your gear. Once assembled, it's time to fine-tune your setup, dialing in that perfect driving position. All in all, you can expect about 4 hours from unboxing to race-ready action. Now that I have the Next Level Racing FGT Elite 160 chassis all set up, and I started off in the GT position. That is my #1 driving position, and I do appreciate that the rig converts, but I think it's a little difficult to change it on the fly. You might change between seasons or just because you want to try the other way out, but for the most part, I have it set up as a GT rig, and that's the way it would probably stay. So when I'm thinking about a rig, what are the most important factors? I mean, a rig of this caliber, it needs to be rock solid. I might put a 30 Newton meter wheelbase on this, and that wheel's deck needs to be super strong. And this is as strong as it gets. These are very, very beefy profile tubing. This wheel deck is super rigid and solid, and by the time it's all boxed in, you just don't get movement. I mean, you'll see the flex in the wheel. As I sit here yanking on this thing, you'll see the flex in the wheel. Sure, you'll see the flex in the wheelbase, but you're not seeing that wheel deck move. You're not seeing these uprights move. It is super duper strong. Same thing goes for the pedal deck. It is built on some very strong profile tubing. It is very well reinforced in multiple spots, and the end result is, even with a heavy duty load cell, there is no flex, no wiggle, no vibration, no movement whatsoever. And again, the kind of thing that I expect out of a rig of this caliber. So that goes for the overall strength. Now, this didn't come with a seat, and I'm using the ERS3 seat from Next Level, which is their least expensive recliner, and it is not as strong as some other seats. It's very rigid in terms of it doesn't change position, but it does have a little flex. So the only movement you're going to see in this rig is under the heaviest braking. You're going to see a little bit of flex out of that seat because of how strong the rig is and how hard I can press on that load cell brake without any flex from the rig. It's all going right into this seat, and it handles it just fine. So from there, it comes down to the ergonomics. You know, not only do you want all that strength because it's essential, but I want all my gear exactly where I want it. Now, I'm a shorter driver, coming in a little under 5 foot 6 inches tall. And for me, it was really easy to get this rig dialed in. I had plenty of adjustability front to back for the wheel, all the adjustability and angle that I could possibly want, an endless amount of height adjustment. I could bring this thing all the way up here if I needed, so you could see it would accommodate quite a taller driver. When you look down at the pedals, same thing. You can see I have the pedals slammed all the way forward. Like, it almost wouldn't work with a shorter driver, but I'll tell you in a second how it would work for a shorter driver. And then you'd have endless distance. You could put Manute Bowl, you could take an NBA center and dial this rig in for that height, and I'm certain it would accommodate that driver as well as it accommodates me. Now, I mentioned a shorter driver. I could still push this wheel deck farther forward, push the seat forward to go with it, and then the pedals would need to back away, which would mean I'd have them not as slammed forward as I have them. But for me, the way I'm using the rig, this worked out fine. I'm getting all the strength out of it, so I didn't have to make that secondary adjustment. With the Next Level Racing FGT Elite 160 being a premium rig, it does include the shifter mount. And the shifter mount is as strong as any other part of the rig. It'll handle a handbrake next to a shifter, and it is all rock solid, and you have a lot of freedom of up and down, a little bit of left to right movement, and a lot of front to back movement. So you should be able to get just about any shifter or handbrake right where you want them. Now, for those who want the shifter mounted to the seat, you can do that as well. I didn't try that option, but it is available, and it just gives you that added freedom and another adjustability. And obviously in the formula position, we're not going to worry about that. We're just going to keep using it as a mouse pad like we have here for our testing. Now, in the GT position, the pedals actually can be at various different heights. You can move that whole platform up and down. So it's not only the angle adjustment that is limitless all the way to a formula position, but enough up and down. So if you want to get it to where you have the right angle for your legs, to have that ergonomics so you can drive all day, it's totally doable with this chassis. And no matter what position you choose, it maintains that strength. Same thing with the seat. I had endless up and down and reclinability adjustment, and that meant the end result, that was like the cherry on top. So when I had that wheel just perfect, when I got those pedals just perfect, and then I got my seat not only at the perfect distance, but the right angle and the ability to recline the seat to the angle that I am most comfortable, I've hit every part of the ergonomics that I need to make this rig just absolutely perfect. I think I've said perfect like 20 times, but when it comes to a rig and its adjustability and strength, that's what I demand, and that's what the Elite 160 is delivering. Transitioning the rig from a GT setup to a hybrid or formula position is a breeze, taking me just about 8 minutes to complete. Simply loosen the pedal assembly, adjust it to your preferred position, and lock everything back in place. Next, loosen up the cam bolts at the front and tilt the seat back, and then secure it in its new position. Finally, you'll adjust the wheel deck to fit. I found myself raising it up slightly and tilting it down a bit. Voila! In no time, I was comfortably reclined in a laid-back formula-style setup with pedals perfectly aligned to my liking. After a quick changeover, we have the FGT Elite 160 rig in more of a formula position, and I'm going to confess, I went to full recline on the seat, but on the pedals, I have in more of a hybrid position, but it just gives you an idea the amount of adjustability. But here we are in our full recline, laid-back formula position, and it achieved all of the same primary essential things that we expect out of a premium rig, and that being the stiffness didn't change whatsoever. So regardless of if I put these pedals in a heavy incline, whether I have them flat, they are rigid, they are stiff. You won't know when you make the adjustment. It does not change the strength at all. Same thing with the wheel deck. Unlimited ability. You can see I have it quite a bit higher because I need it up in my face more like in a formula position. So even at this higher position, it doesn't change the amount of strength or wiggle. It is still rock solid. Now I will say, the rig got a little bit harder to get in and out of with the reclined position. That opening to get your feet in gets a little bit smaller, especially in my sizing with the seat pushed so far forward. And you're elevating the seat. So when you're making those seat adjustments, you actually find if you release it, it's going to drop all the way back unless you're holding yourself, because your weight is actually now on those sliders and will make it actually harder to bring it forward or extremely easy to drop it all the way back. But ultimately, the position is still very comfortable. And even though you'd expect a more rigid seat from a formula position, I'm still using this recliner type, which typically wouldn't be ideal for a formula position, but it actually handles it quite well. And I am very comfortable and definitely in that classic driving position. I've got that steering wheel right in my face. I'm looking right over the top of it like you would be in a Formula One car. And then also having those pedals at an angle so that even though I'm reclined, it basically gives me the same effective braking ability and still allows me to leverage my braking against this heavy load cell and using the back to support my body and get more leverage on the brake. So it really works in all those conditions. And then obviously in this scenario, I'm not going to put a shifter. If you're in a Formula One position, chances are you're not using a shifter. It just doesn't make sense unless you're doing something very old school. So in this case, I've got my handy dandy mouse pad exactly where I want it. And that's the other thing. If you want a testament of the strength of this rig, look at all the driving that I'm doing. Look at all the crashing that I'm doing in this case. And the mouse pad, the mouse stays on the pad. It doesn't fall off. If you had any wiggle or jiggle, it'd work its way off and you'd hear it clunk mid-race. That hasn't happened once while using this. So again, very strong rig, very comfortable rig, highly adjustable, not just adjustable, but the ability to go from GT to Formula, or in this case, maybe I would call it more of that hybrid position, which is one of the abilities as well. So overall, very flexible in terms of the ability, not flexible in terms of the movement. We've covered so many things with the Next Level Racing FGT Elite 160 chassis. I mean, it has so many features, and it just does do all the things that we require out of a premium sim racing chassis when it comes to like comfort, adjustability, rigidity, or strength. But just to make sure it's very clear and just to cover the most important aspects of this review, let's go ahead and break it down with the good, the not so good, and the bottom line, starting off with the good, and that being this wheel plate edition works with every bottom mount wheel on the market today. Works with just about any pedals. Super strong. Endless adjustment for sizing. GT, hybrid, and formula driving positions all in one. Comes with extras, butt kicker mount, shifter mount, seat mount, alignment markings, looks cool, custom 40 by 160 anodized aluminum extrusion tubing, great for taller drivers, bonus ratchet tool for building and adjusting, cable management clips. And now on to the not so good, with the first thing being this is a very heavy chassis. I have mine on carpet sliders, otherwise I wouldn't be able to move it. Assembly and adjustments can be difficult. All profile chassis. Not recommended for kids under 5 or smaller drivers. And now on to the bottom line. With the mighty price tag that comes with the Next Level Racing FGT Elite 160 chassis, I almost was going to put cost on the not so good list. But when I really thought about it, and I thought about the type of tubing they use, the amount of features, the amount of adjustability, the stiffness, and the quality of the rig, it's right in line with other rigs of these type of features. It's the same type of pricing. So the pricing is really relative. It's expensive if you're on a very tight budget, but if you're looking for a premium rig, this is the price it's going to cost you. Now, if you are looking for a less expensive option, you could check out our review of the Next Level Racing Elite Light, which is a much less expensive chassis that'll get the job done really well. Now, this is the kind of rig that I can really get behind, and here's why. I think it's pretty future-proof. Going with the wheel plate edition, having such a large plate, whether it has the holes drilled or you need to drill more, I'm pretty sure this will handle any wheel that they invent tomorrow, so I think it's going to last a long time. Also, if you change disciplines and you want to create more of a formula position, you can convert the rig over. So I just feel it's like that universal Swiss Army knife all-in-one type rig solutions, and coming in at a premium level and having all those features, I think it does kind of set it apart from many rigs. Now, I love the way I have this set up right here. I have it in the GT position. I have the shifter back on, and there's a little room for my mouse. But ultimately, I'll probably not run a shifter. I'll probably bring that deck a little higher to use this as a conventional mouse pad, and then I could just slide the seat all the way back, put the keyboard on my lap, and actually sit there editing or browsing on the internet. So it makes it not only a great sim racing chassis, but eliminates the need for a mule for people who want to do desk-type tasks from the rig. And that also means that my taller friends can come over and actually use my rig. So I have the seat forward for me, they just slide it back and it works for them. That's really nice. So in the end, the FGT Elite 160 chassis, it checks all the boxes. Strength or rigidity? Check. Compatibility? Check. Adjustability? Check. Great looking? Check. What more could you ask for? And I think it's a great, excellent option in the premium rig selection out there. And like I mentioned, there are a few others in this price point, and it'll come down to your personal preference, what you think looks better, or which one's more available in your region. So I hope I've told you everything that you could possibly want to know about the FGT Elite 160 chassis, that I've answered any questions that you might have. And if I have, be sure to give this video a thumbs up. Be sure to subscribe to the channel so you can find out when our next video comes out. And thank you for watching. This is the Simpit. I'm Sean Cole, and I'll see you on the track.